5, topic number 5, audit evaluation and reviews. Audit evaluation and reviews. Audit evaluation and what here? Reviews. So in this particular topic called audit evaluation and reviews, what are the main things that you're supposed to know? And I would want you to write down the main things which you are required to know before I put on my camera. I would want you to put down the main things that you are required here to understand under topic number 5. Under topic number 5, what are the key major things you are required here to understand? Number 1, we have the concept of what here? The audit assertions. The audit what here? Audit assertions. We must be very good in the audit assertions. Those things of ACCA cover. We really have to evaluate them so seriously for us to be able to come up with an appropriate opinion. Appropriate audit opinion. Great. What else do we need, ladies and gentlemen? Under this particular topic here, we also need to be very good at what we call subsequent events. Subsequent events. We must be very good at subsequent events. Subsequent events. Is there anybody who knows what subsequent events mean? When before I teach you, guys must be knowing subsequent means coming after. Subsequent means coming after. We have to be very good in terms of going concern. Going concern never misses in your exam. The going concern assumption. Then we have this 5.4. We know that related parties have really taken down many organizations, related parties. Who are the related parties to a company? For example, when I want to audit company ABC, I have to look at the various related parties. For example, does it have a subsidiary? Does it have an associate? Does it have a joint venture, right? Who are the key management staff? Those are related parties. Do they have, for example, a pension scheme? If they have a pension scheme, that is a serious related party because most directors have really used these pension schemes and other. For example, you get some organizations running circles within their firms. Those are avenues of fraud. Those are related parties we need to be monitoring very keenly, like what we are told with these related parties. For example, the key management staff. Every year, key management staff, the directors, if the directors of Safaricom have to realize them, have to disclose them, and the related parties, and I'll be able to show you today how it discloses them. Tell us in this case here, how much they earned, how many meetings they came for, etc. Related party is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to teach you how to draft the management letter, management representation letters. Very, very important. Then we have the group audits. Group audits rarely misses. Under group audits, you are required to understand who is a group auditor. This group auditor may not be the one who will be auditing the subsidiaries. The subsidiaries in this case here have a right, they are independent companies, they can choose whomever they think is fit to be their auditor. So we shall be having what we call a group auditor, and then we shall be having number 2, the component auditors. The component auditors, although in most cases, group auditor may end up in this case here, auditing subsidiaries. So if somebody comes and tells you, you know what, I'm auditing this subsidiary, you will not say no. As a group auditor, what I'll be concerned with is the qualifications of the component auditor. How independent is he, right? When I ask for information from him, is he able to cooperate? So I have to teach you how to carry out group auditing. Group auditing is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the analytical reviews, the ratios, assessment of the trends, etc. And then we have evidence and the testing considerations. How do we collect this evidence, etc. We have the use of work of others, like the internal audit, the experts. Of course, auditing, ladies and gentlemen, is quite a wide area. There is no way I'll be able to carry this auditing alone. There are things that I may not be having expertise of. If, for example, I would want to value a company's premises, I don't have that expertise. I may need a valuer. I'll be relying on evidence collected by who? The internal audit. So then I have to look at whether, again, they are qualified, whether they are quite independent, whether they're independent of the organization, and of course, whether they are able to put up adequate resources to be able to do a good job. Okay. Then we have what we call the company audit. Company audit is very important. And then we have lastly 5.11, the role of audit committee in the audit process. This rarely misses the concept of audit committee. So ladies and gentlemen, I would want in this case here to help ourselves here by really going very fast in this and looking at what basically we call the low-hanging fruits. The low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits ni gani? Kumbuka at this level, inafaa unajua ni helicopter style. Helicopter style means you are getting the key stuff, right? Key concepts, and then know how to apply them in your exam. It's not about cramming. Cramming was in the earlier level, the intermediate level. This is an applications level. Like now when we talk of subsequent events, you're supposed to understand what they are and how do you apply them in real life situations in your audit work. Great. So please let me know whether you are able to see this young, beautiful lady here. Are you able to see some young, beautiful lady here? Mimi nataka nyinyi mnakuwa hata nyinyi mnakuwa international brands. Mnakuwa international brands. Sio lazima unaoa Mwafrika, right? Be an international person. Sio lazima uolewe na Mwafrika. Be an international person. So they're not telling me that they're able to see my screen. That is, I can see what I'm saying. Yes. Great. Yes. Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want us to tackle a few areas here. So we shall be able to look at the going concern. We shall be able to look at related parties. We shall be able to look at these written representations, subsequent events. Subsequent events are very important for me. Let's start with related parties. Related parties, page number 93. You have this book already. You have this book with yourselves. Page number 93, related parties, your relatives, related parties. Related parties wanaharibu biashara sana. Ni kama sasa ukianza biashara, halafu unaweka watu wenu peke yake ati ndio wana kwa top management. Itakuwa international disaster. Itakuwa international disaster. Utalose, kutakuwa na high staff turnover, etc. in a group audit. Great. Here, related parties, chapter 20. So are we ready to start? 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 Now, ladies and gentlemen, when they mention this particular terminology, related party, which also comes in your AFR theory, when they mention the words related party before I introduce, what comes to your mind? Who are related parties? Who are related parties? Who are related parties? Who are related parties? What comes to your mind? Somebody is very good in Googling. What is a related party in your own understanding or from Uncle Google? Who is a related party? I'll reshare the book, no problem. I will reshare the book. Okay. Who is a related party? Ni high level. It's high level. I don't want to see my AAA students cramming. No. And then today I'll also give you a secret of passing this paper round 1. I don't want us to pass this paper round 2. No. It's round 1. We put it down. I'll give you a secret. Parties involved in a similar transaction? No. I'll not take that one, Nelly. I've never done that. This week has been crazy. has been crazy to me, but from now today up to Tuesday, yours faithfully, yours faithfully, yours faithfully. Great. I expect you guys, this related party is a person or an entity that is related to the reporting entity. A person or an entity that is related to the reporting entity, to that entity whose financial statements you are auditing. The reporting entity, the reporting entity, the reporting entity. Sija understand Lucy anasema namna gani hapa. Sija understand Lucy anasema namna gani hapa. The people who share blood relationships, I love that, but not in the context of a company. A company has got also its own relatives. Who are its relatives here? Who are the relatives of these companies? And why should we study about them? Why should we take time as auditors here to understand relatives of what here? A company, because of what here? Theft. These are the number one suspects when it comes to what here? Stealing. These are the number one suspects when it comes to crazy. Yeah, this week was a crazy one. Yeah, parties with an interest to a given entity. I love that they have got an interest to a given entity. Thank you very much. So please allow me to share now the book. We discuss what these related parties are. Now we are told here, related parties can pose real difficulties for auditors because it can be very difficult to detect the relationship and the related party transactions. It can be very hard. Certainly, the letter of representation sent by directors to the auditors at the end of the audit would make reference to the fact that either there were no related party transactions or that all have been done what here? Disclosed. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that related parties is a serious matter. And really, as an auditor, it is not my responsibility to identify related parties. No, this is the responsibility of who? Of directors. That is why the directors have to commit themselves in writing through what we call representation letters. They have to tell the auditor that these are our related parties. And this is the business that we had between what here? Related parties. So we are saying something very important that yes, I will also be putting in some checks to discover some abnormalities in terms of what are these relatives. But it is not my major duty. It is the duty of the management of a company. It is the duty, responsibility of the directors of a company to disclose what we call related parties, and they have to put that down in writing. They give you that information in writing. Very important for us to be able to appreciate that from the word go. From the word go. Ladies and gentlemen, so we are told here that, for example, one person owns two companies, and each company has different auditors. If company A sells goods to company B at inflated prices, company B will make artificial losses, and the company A artificial what-year profits. Perhaps the owner intends to put company B into liquidation to escape liabilities, but the cash has been safely transferred to company A. It would probably be difficult for the auditors to detect what was going on. Ladies and gentlemen, remember the concept of what we call transfer what-year? Transfer pricing. Of course, you normally do transfer pricing in advanced management accounting. True? Do you have transfer pricing in AMA? Transfer pricing in AMA. They must have forgotten transfer pricing. Yes. So we have company A selling goods to company B. If they are related, these companies here will always want to play games around. So there are things in this case here that they will do what here, that they will inflate, right? Their prices. So that if company B is buying these goods, automatically because it's a cost to company B, their profit will go down. Remember, we normally use transfer pricing here to shift profits between what your jurisdictions, different jurisdictions. If, for example, ladies and gentlemen, we happen to be having like a subsidiary in one of these tax havens. For example, we have a subsidiary in one of these tax havens. Is there somebody who knows the concept of tax havens? Could you kindly give me examples of tax havens? This came some time back in taxation. Countries that are tax havens. Is there somebody who can remind us? They're saying Netherlands, Cayman Islands. Rogers, look at the spelling of the word Cayman. Cayman Islands. Mauritius. It's good you happen to know about these tax havens, because I would want you, ladies and gentlemen, once you become so rich, you must get away of also taking some of your monies where there. Russia, they're saying Russia is is a tax haven. So we would want to shift most of our profits to tax havens because of the tax advantages like that, which are there. But you see, again, ladies and gentlemen, as we do that, that shifting of profits between related entities can really confuse the stakeholders. The stakeholders who at the end of the day will get into big losses. We could have a situation like this. People are trying to explain to us two companies owned by one individual. And this individual perhaps is crafty. He wants, in this case, here to run away with people's assets. He will do that kind of transfer of profits. And then I have this company A, for example, which is in Kenya, being wound up, right? So it will be very important for us to put in place mechanisms of identifying these related parties, because people have used related parties for so long to swindle various stakeholders. So what is a related party and why are they difficult for auditors? Related parties are defined in IAS 24. I told you this is something very important for those of you who are doing advanced financial reporting. Today they'll get another understanding of this related party. The objective of IAS 24 is to ensure that an entity's financial statements contain disclosures. Financial statements contain disclosures necessary to draw attention to the possibility that its financial position and the profit or loss may have been affected by existence of related parties and by transactions and outstanding balances, including commitments with such parties. A related party, like somebody called Mary told us, a related party is a person or an entity that is related to the reporting entity. A person or a close member of that person's family is related to a reporting entity if that person has control, joint control, or significant influence over the entity, or is a member of its key management personnel. An entity is related to a reporting entity if, among other circumstances, it is a parent company, it is a subsidiary, it's a fellow subsidiary, associate, or a joint venture of the reporting entity, or it is controlled, jointly controlled, or significantly influenced, or managed by a person who is a related party. Note that subsidiaries, associated companies, joint venture partners, and the entity's pension schemes, people forget this. The entity's pension scheme are related parties. Subsidiaries, associated companies, joint venture partners, and the entity's pension scheme are related parties. You might think it is easy, for example, to identify when a company is an associate. And this would be expected when producing the group financial accounts. But if you are auditing the associate, how would you detect if it was trading with another company that was also an associate of the same parent and therefore under the influence of the parent? Detecting ownership by family members is also very difficult. This might not have all the same family name. Particular problems arise. Listen, particular problems can arise if the transactions between the related parties take place without charge. You are being given things for free. For example, simply moving inventory from one party to the other without any accounting entries will distort profits. Number two, related party transactions are buried amongst normal transactions without you disclosing. There are parties that the auditor is unaware of, complex group structures can make identifying related parties very difficult. Management might try to conceal the relationships, especially when these directors are giving themselves like company vehicles, right? Somebody assigns their wives, in this case here, assets belonging to who? Assets belonging to a company. They would not want to disclose husband-wife relationship. Management simply might not know that certain transactions fall within related party rules. There is nothing illegal about a company trading with a related party. That is very normal. This happens all the time in groups. However, as described above, the existence of a related party transaction increases the chance that transactions are not normal, they are not at arm's length, or have been entered into to defraud other parties or to evade what here? Tax. Responsibilities. It is the management's responsibility to identify and disclose related party transactions. However, of course, this does not absolve the auditors from exercising professional skepticism or from trying to obtain evidence about the existence of related party transactions. If related party transactions are not identified by management or the auditors, there is an increased risk. There is an increased risk of, number one, fraud, unfair presentation, and then non-compliance with the law, especially tax legislation. Now we shall look at the audit procedures in a while, but I would want us to take like 3 minutes and think through what related parties are. What are related parties? How do you understand these now in your own language? If you're told here in your own language now, you're not Googling, in your own language. If you're asked here to define the term related party is in your own language, what will you tell us are related parties? Sorry for disturbing you a little bit here and there. It's normal. In your own language. The other day, somebody called me, told me, Mwalimu, what? My papers have been withheld by CASNEP because of this and this and this, right? At times, even cramming can cost you. Don't cram too much. No, you're a scholar. Know how to represent these things in your own language. They're not talking to me. Remember, when you are defining this, I would always rather those students who even go ahead to give us what here examples of these related parties. Examples of these related parties. They're not talking to me. I do not know why. Okay. 2 or more parties that have a common interest. I'm still waiting for better definitions. I would rather, in this case here, has an interest in an entity that gives it significant influence over the entity's related party. Parties that influence decisions of other organizations, company, parties with significant influence in a company. If I were you, I would have said, then parties here with a significant influence or which controls, right, this company. It is the entity that is rated with the reporting. It is the entity that is rated with the reporting entity. Any entity or person, that is related with the reporting entity automatically becomes who? Becomes a rated party. Any entity stroke person that is related to the reporting entity becomes a related party. For example, parties that significantly influence. For example, the parent company of this subsidiary, its own subsidiaries, associates, pension schemes. Those are what here related parties, key management personnel, their family members. If, for example, I'm a director at RCM, then my wife automatically is a related party to RCM College. My kids are related parties. If, for example, RCM Online College does business with them, then it has to do what it has to disclose in the financial statements that RCM Online College did this kind of business with Madam so-and-so, who happens to be the wife of this and this director. You have to disclose that RCM Online College did business with, for example, this entity that is a parent, did business with, for example, this entity, which is what here and so. It's all about disclosure. It's all about disclosure. Great. Joint ventures, yes, I love that. I love that. Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, then what will be the audit procedures that you will, ladies and gentlemen, what will be some of the audit procedures that you will be able to put down as an auditor when you are auditing these fragile thing called related parties? What are some of the audit procedures? Some of the audit procedures that you have to put down, that you will have to undertake to ensure that you really do justice to the auditing of related party transactions. Can we use IAEOU? Of course, IAEOU will also really help you quite a lot, yes, but don't really be stuck with those ones alone. Remember, audit procedures, mingi hata ni review. I'll review. Mingi ni hivyo. Inquiries. No. Audit planning is not a procedure. Procedure, audit procedures. Identification of what? Do you call them into a parade? Alex. Very good. Vivian Sani amesema ya kwanza ya review of previous auditing working papers. Because remember, we said that related parties, normally the management must identify them and send them to the auditor. So they must be somewhere. I'll start by reviewing. Risk identification, apana. The first thing I would want to do is to really analyze and see whether we have this auditing, or rather we have these related parties, and whether they have been genuinely given to us by who? By the management. Victor unajua sana. Written representations from management. Ukiuliza audit process, hiyo inafanga hata ikuwa ya kwanza. Hiyo ni an inquiry from management. Unaandikia barua, unaambia you want to know whether they are related parties. So written representation from management, andika namna hiyo. Aha. Kuna interviews, they are anasema interviews, but you see interviews at the end of the day, they have to end up with what? A written representation from management. Tell them to commit themselves, regardless of what they tell you. Remember, we don't really believe in oral evidence. Circularization, like you circularize, you talk to various people to see whether mnajaribu asante, mnajaribu, lakini tuendelee. Nipate hizo points. The audit procedures. I cannot see anybody saying that I will strive to obtain the shares register. I would want to know who owns this company. The shares register is very important in identifying related OTR parties. Yes, like reviewing a correspondence with legal representatives. That is very, very important. Yes. Legal representatives, yes. Any correspondence, yes. Of course, you'll at times get even people having taken each other to court, right? So when you take the lawyer's files, reviewing minutes, yes, that's very important. I'll take that. The board minutes, yes. The board minutes, I can easily get into. Thank you very much. Review the entity's income tax returns. Income tax returns, that can really assist me. Yes, I can get to know a few things here and there. You guys are bright. We are almost there. We are almost there. Reviewing the internal control systems. Let's go through them very fast. They are here. So audit procedures. Number one, inquire from management about related party transactions. Auditors would have to explain the concepts and they give examples to help management. Inquire. Review last year's working papers. Review board minutes. Review the accounting records for unusual transactions. This automatically is the analytical what here? Analytical procedures. Review the accounting records for unusual what here? Transactions. Review bank certificates. One company might have given guarantees on behalf of another, yes. So review bank certificates. Review principal shareholders of companies with whom the client trades. Ask the directors about their other directors and share ownership. Review correspondence with lawyers. This is something that is very important. Review investment activities, e.g. the purchase of shares that might indicate that significant controls has been acquired. Inquire into the names of pension trustees. Obtain written representation from management. Obtain written representation from what here? From management. Ladies and gentlemen, again, to disturb you a little bit, amongst all these points, which point ya kusema ukweli kabisa hauwezi ukasahau? Audit procedures on related parties. Which procedure hauwezi ukasahau hata siku moja? Which procedure hauwezi ukasahau? Which procedure hauwezi ukasahau? Iseme Evelyn, niweze kustick kwa mind. Iseme which procedure ambao hauwezi ukasahau? Lawyers. Reviewing of board meeting minutes. Board meeting review. I love that. Working papers last year. Working papers. Checking for any bank, possibility of bank guarantees, the bank certificates. Obtaining written representation from management. Hiyo imenitosha. Written representation from management, hiyo imenitosha. Hata staki ingine tena. Na maybe ile concept ya principal shareholders from the shares registry. From the shares registry, it's important you get to know really who owns this company. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want you to do me a favor. I want you to go to the ACCA question and answers booklet that I gave you last time. Do you still have it? The question and answer booklet that I gave you last time, do you still have it? The ACCA, I would want to give you a secret. Please go to where they are giving you. Let me try to open mine very fast. There is a trick I want to show you. Once you know this trick, you can never get a fail in this paper. There is one that I gave you. Let me just check here. Okay. Hebu share kitabu kwa WhatsApp tena. Share kitabu kwa WhatsApp tena tuone. Please share kitabu kwa WhatsApp tuweze kuona. Hebu share kitabu mko nao tuone gani. Hebu share. Share kitabu ya AAA. A question and answer. Yes. Great. Hii kitabu ukiwa nataka nikuonyesha, ukijua kuitumia you will never get a fail kwa hii paper. Utapenda hii paper kwa paper zote sana. Haya. Haya. So let me open it. Then I show you something very important. Haya, abracadabra. Mwalimu ndio yuko hapa. Please tell me whether you are able to see our mother. Are you able to see the face of our mother here? Yes. Thank you very much. Great. Now this book, what you do, you go right away up to here. Hii ndio mama ya kila kitu hapa. Hii ya topic index. Unapo hii topic index. Kwa topic index, unaangalia kama section yenu mko na mambo sana ya tendering. Imekupatia the questions ambazo zina capture mambo ya tendering. Right? So unaangalia pole uone kama hii umesoma sasa hivi, kama iko na pahali popote kama group audit is very important here. Like the entire chapter 8 tumesoma inaitwa evaluation and review. It has got so many questions here. I'm trying to look for a related party. Ukiona haiko hapa, iko kwa ile ya lower. Iko kwa ile ya lower, kidogo dakika moja. Pana choka, nataka nipatie shortcut ya kupita kitu haraka. Atafutae achoki. Akichoka kesha pata. So hivi vitabu lazima uzitumie interchangeably. AA and AAA za ACCA, very important. Na maswali yenu yanatoka tu hapo tu. Na pia usifanye maswali yote, hapana. Unaenda na hiyo index, topic index. Dakika moja tu kidogo tu. Like Rogers amesha identify moja question 18. Rogers ame-identify moja question 18. Because I would want us to get them in an easy way. Now, like if you look at question 18A, discuss why the identification of related parties and the material related party transactions can be difficult for auditors. Bonge hapo tusikie dakika moja wewe. Utasema nini hapo sasa? Utasema nini hapo? Discuss why the identification of related parties and the material related party transactions can be difficult for auditors. Utasema nini? Pata potea. Lack of documents to support related party transactions. I love that. Management will want to conceal this by all means. I love that. Alafu kitabu sasa iko na answers nyuma, Unaona nyuma yake. Iko na answers hapa nyuma yake. Ukienda tu hapo 18 tena kwa answer. 18 tena kwa answer, unasoma haraka unatoka kwa hiyo chapter. 36. Okay, great. So they are right here. Remember, it's 5 marks. So 5 marks, you have to really sweat it out. First of all, you come to, they'll give you short answers here. So problems in identifying related party transactions. Number 1, complex stroke subject definition of a related party. Reluctance of management to disclose. Hard to identify from the accounting system. Deliberate concealment for fraud, what we call window dressing. Materiality, relatively complex to apply. So kisha soma hiyo fupi, so nakuja unasoma vile explain or expound. Related parties. Related parties are defined by AS 24, related party transactions and party disclosures, and can be complex subject and difficult to identify. It's not always immediately obvious to management or the auditor
whether a party is really related. For example, IS 24 states that a party is related to an entity when the party controls, is controlled by, or is under common control with the entity. Control may not always be easy to identify within a complex multinational group, or if the controlling party is a trust, it may be difficult to prove who, if anyone, controls it. There is frequently little or no documentary evidence of related parties, and so the auditor often has to rely on management written representations for their disclosure. If management wish to hide a related party, it may prove difficult for the auditor to identify it through normal audit procedures. Related party transactions, management systems are not designed to distinguish related parties or produce a summary of their transactions. Management will generally have to carry out additional work to identify and collect related party information. If this work is not completed, it may prove difficult for the auditor to detect all related party transactions. Management may conceal a related party transaction in full or in part. This could be because they are motivated by more than ordinary business considerations of the financial statements as part of fraud or window dressing. If management conceals a related party transaction, it will be very difficult for the auditor to identify. Related party transactions may be much difficult to detect using ordinary audit procedures. It may also be difficult for the auditor to determine related parties who are individuals such as directors and their what here, their families. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, no, I'm not tired at all. I'm not tired at all. I'm not tired at all. I'm very much okay. Now, I can see what Rogers is telling us there. Rogers is telling us that there is a question from the past paper, CPA May 2021, question number 1. So I expect ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, to look at this question and post, gentlemen, to look at this question and post answers on WhatsApp. So then, ladies and gentlemen, this one is a homework, which I expect my students here to do. CPA May 2021, question number 1. Now, listen and listen to me very well. I would want us in this case here to go and look at